You guys ready? All right. So good morning. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Stephen Murphy. I'm the commander of the Nashville District. We're really excited to have you here today. But we're here today to discuss the resumption of work here at Chickamauga Lock to replace the aging lock with a new lock, a larger and much more efficient lock. And we're really pleased to have U.S. Representative Chuck Fleischmann representing the 3rd Congressional District with us here today. And Congressman Fleischmann is certainly no stranger to Chick Lock, and he's been a strong supporter of the project, and the Corps greatly appreciates that. So please join me in welcoming Congressman Fleischmann.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel, and good morning, everyone. Today is a great day in the great state of Tennessee. When I was elected to Congress, I said I wanted to go to Washington and fix things that were broken. Little did I know, on about the first day, I was going to be informed that the Inland Waterway Trust Fund was broken, and that the construction on the new Chickamauga Lock was going to be halted. We went to work right away to reform the broken Inland Waterway Trust Fund, and we did that. Then, when our partners in industry asked for an increase in the user fee to increase revenue to the trust fund after we had fixed the funding formula, we did that. And then we had another surprise. The prioritization of Chickamauga Lock. We are 4th in line after Olmsted, Lower Monongahela, Kentucky, and us was threatened. We were told that Chickamauga Lock was going to be dropped down, and that would put funding perhaps decades away. That was unacceptable. So we went to work again. My partners in the Senate, Senator Alexander and Senator Corker, worked with me. Our staff worked tirelessly. TVA, industry, workers, all of the associations came together, and we got it done. Because in the appropriations bill, we were able to secure Chickamauga Lock's position. So when the funding came in, we were awarded funding. First $3 million for last year, 29.9, almost $30 million for this year, and the future looks bright for Chickamauga. But this is the restart of the new Chickamauga Lock. So my constituents know the funding on the old Chickamauga Lock, and credit goes to the Army Corps of Engineers for keeping that up. It's an old lock, it's an antiquated lock. So not only is the Corps going to build the new lock, at the same time we have funding to maintain the existing lock, because it's still going to take years and a lot of work to get the new lock completed. But we start again today. One of the things I enjoy most about my job is going into schools. It might be an elementary school, it might be a middle school, it might be a high school, a vocational school, and talk about our great government and the way things should work. This is an example, a shining example, not some amorphous metaphor, but Chick Lock stands for something that I think is great about Tennessee and great about America. And what that is, it's about telling the truth, going to your constituents in good times and bad times, with good news and when we face obstacles, and trusting the people with the information that is correct and accurate. There will always be cynics, there will always be skeptics, and there will always be naysayers. There's always been that. But there will always be optimists and doers and people of vision. And that's what's so important about Chick Lock. When I talk to a 4th grader about the fact that we can come together, senators and congressmen, Corps of Engineers and industry, TVA, as citizens, and work to get things that are broken fixed, it gives them hope about America. It inspires them. Because even though our system of government is not perfect, it's the best system of government I believe that the world has ever seen. So today we are not only going to begin the reopening, the rebuilding of a great new lock, we are going to have a renaissance in America. And that renaissance, that rebirth, is going to be a can-do attitude. It will show our citizens what we can do when we come together with the right goals, with the right hearts, with optimism to get things done. I couldn't be more thankful for the cooperation that we have seen with our partners, and this is going to be something hopefully around 2023 when we open the new Chickamauga lock. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be important for our inland waterways transportation system, the jobs that it will create, the suppliers. It's just going to be truly an outstanding new lock, and it will serve our area perhaps for decades to come. So with that, a heartfelt thank you to those who continued to believe in our mission. It's taken 5 long years, and it's going to take a lot of work going forward. The path ahead is going to require the appropriation of dollars, and I know that Senator Corker, Senator Alexander, and I and my delegation will work very hard to get this done. So let us celebrate today, let us look forward to a better tomorrow, and let's build New Chick Lock and let it be one of the finest locks in our country. Thank you very much.
So I'd like to give a little bit more detail on the what the Corps is working on here at Chickamauga. We're just like the Congressman said, we're very excited to be back on site performing active construction. And this was largely made responsible by the legislative action that took place in 2014 that improved the funding stream for navigation construction projects. And just like the Congressman said, with the $3.1 million we received in 2015, the first funding that we'd received since 12, so a 3-year hiatus, the Corps awarded the $3.1 million contract to Remco Geotechnical Contractors from Knoxville. And they'll be improving the coffer dam by placing grout along the outer perimeter of the coffer cells that you see right out here today. And this is the last step to ensure that future contractors will be working in the dry. So you can see that they've already mobilized on site. You can see behind me a drill just within the last couple of weeks, and they'll begin their drilling activities that will commence through the summer. So we'll be finished this summer with this next portion of the contract. And again, just like Congressman Fleischmann mentioned, we got almost $30 million this fiscal year, and the Corps will advertise a 2-year contract that we're looking to award by the end of this fiscal year in September that will complete the lock excavation, install rock anchors under the coffer dam, and construct a retaining wall. And the next step after the excavation is complete is to begin the actual lock construction, which could begin in 2018, depending on the receipt of efficient funding. And I just want to say that the Chickamauga lock replacement is a high priority, not just for the Nashville district, but also for the Corps of Engineers. And again, Congressman Fleischmann, he must have been reading my notes, because it is the 4th project nationally for the Corps of Engineers for navigation construction projects. And for the Corps, this project is both fortunate and unusual because we were able to fully complete the design before the funding ran out. So unlike some other projects that we have, this one is actually shovel ready. And given efficient funding, again, efficient, not easy, but efficient funding, we think that the lock can be operational by 2022. So the district and the Nashville Corps of Engineers is committed and anxious to make that momentum event happen as soon as possible, because we recognize how vital this lock is to the Tennessee River navigation system and the transportation network and the economy of this region. Both one of the interesting facts that came across in studying Chick Lock as a commander is that we see 6 times as many recreational lockages as we do commercial. So we recognize the value to the recreating public is just like to industry. The existing lock does continue to downgrade or to degrade due to the concrete growth issues, and it does have a finite life. So the sooner we get the new lock online, the better, both for the reliability of this significant navigation link, as well as to the efficiency. And it also helps having to expend critical funds over greater periods of time. So what you're viewing today, the construction, is just one more small step towards the completion of the new lock. And the scope of this contract to be completed is required before we move on to the next step of construction. So again, thank you for being here today. I'd like to open it up for any questions.
Talk about the future funding cycle, then what you would need to get a 2022 completion date. You need a lot more money you're getting out. What's the schedule you would need appropriation-wise?
We actually just provided a brief to the congressman and during recent congressional visits on what that efficient funding would look like, but I can't give out exact numbers right now.
With the 29.9, I mean, the next fiscal year, what would be next after you start awarding the lock dam? What would be involved with all of that? What work would be done?
The concrete work on the actual construction of the lot.
Is there any guarantee that Olmsted is not going to be taking as much money as it has been in the past, that sucked away money from this?
You know, I can't answer that question.
Calvin, perhaps I can help. When we reform the Inland Waterway Trust Fund, I'm sorry, sir. Calvin, that's an excellent question. When we reformed the Inland Waterway Trust Fund, Olmsted was the largest impediment because it was virtually getting all of the funding. We did this in the water bill, and what happened was, with a compromise with the Senate and the administration, 85% of Olmsted funding was actually taken out of the Inland Waterway Trust Fund. So they were actually only receiving 15% of their funding from the Inland Waterway Trust Fund. So what happens then, that 85%, that other money goes to other locks when it was taking all the money. So that was the first part of the puzzle. That was the reformation of the Inland Waterway Trust Fund. The second part being the increase of revenue from the user fees that the industry asked. And then, of course, the third part, and I think the key part, was locking Chick Lock in its fourth and permanent place in terms of prioritization. So the answer to your question is yes. Even though Olmsted is not completed, the complete drain on the Inland Waterway Trust Fund has been greatly lessened by taking 85% of it out.
Anyone else?
You talked a little bit about the importance of the recreational value of the lot. Could you give me some more details on that?
Trying to think of the facts off the top of my head, but over almost 35 lockages, 3,500, sorry, which is about 6 times as much the commercial lockages. So we see a lot of the Vol Navy heading up north. So we recognize the value to the recreating public as well. Does that answer your question? Okay. Anybody else? All right, well, thank you so much again for coming today. Thank you for the Congressman, for Senator Corker's office as well. We really appreciate you guys coming out. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, thank you. It's an honor.
Enjoyed it.